Welcome to the TOWTalk live stream. Hopefully, we're going to give a couple minutes just to get people connected, get the upload going. Let me see. Let me do
Welcome
this.
to the TOWTalk podcast. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, right? And comment 7 words or more to hit that algorithm. We want to make sure that we get out there to everybody that we can. So please do that. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you got to turn that volume down. All
Yeah, I just
right.
did that. So we're good.
So give a few minutes for people to get connected. And oh my goodness, I'm like really, really tall here. I can't feel like I'm. No, it really just is leaving me very, very high up.
There we go. All righty, so here we are, Tuesday. It was you had a pretty good interview with Frank on Sunday, right?
Yes.
So just some background: Frank Dendanto is the town supervisor of the town of Walk Hill. This is the TOWTalk podcast. We talk everything around town of Walk Hill and what affects our residents here. So please, as I said, like, share, and subscribe, and write the comments. And if you didn't see, please go back and check out Denise's interview with the town supervisor, Frank Dendanto. That was posted, I believe it was posted on Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, we did it
Sunday.
Sunday.
All right. And please go back and look at that. And we're going to talk about that for a minute. So Denise, what did you think? How'd you find our town supervisor? Was he really bad to women? Was he bad to
Oh
you?
God.
Did you survive? Did you survive?
I survived. I made it. I tell you, I tell you the stories that go around about, I guess you really, to be in public office, you really need to have like a thick skin for all the shit that goes on. And this poor man's been putting up with a lot, but I think he feels a little vindicated, and I think you do too, given what's happened over the last week or so. As many of you know, last week there was a press conference at the town hall regarding the $4 million budget bailout that the state is providing to the town. So we talked about that in the interview. Gave us a little background about how it came about. Pretty much, he reached out to the county legislature and the state legislature and state comptroller and sort of put this all together. And with the help of um, Assemblywoman Paula Kay and State Senator James Skoufis, they were able to work with the state and the county to get this put together. So yeah, really, really good news. Really going to help us. According to him, that this is a problem that I guess a lot of municipalities face with budgeting issues, but that ours were just sort of more extreme uh, for a lot of reasons. One of them he pointed out was that they were basically working off of the fund balance. He pointed out the fact that when he left office for his first term, that would have been at the end of 2021, there was an $11 million fund balance. When he came into office on January 1st of this year, it was about $1 million. So they were using fund balance to cover their budgeting and just were bleeding through it, and they were at the end.
Well,
And that's oh, go ahead.
That was something I pointed out in their budgeting.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they were budgeting a $2.8 million deficit for this year. What does that mean? $2.8 million deficit, right, means that you budgeted, the revenues that you budgeted fall short $2.8 million of the expenses that you plan on spending, right? Which means you are spending more than what you are taking in. Think of your own budget. Think of, like, if you decided to spend more than what you were taking in, right? That's called debt.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to explain that to people who don't reconcile their own accounts, right? Like, I mean, that's what it's called.
Who?
And
What are you talking?
And we had a lot of that. That was just, I mean, that was pretty transparent,
Yeah.
So all I'm gonna say is, It's been a fantastic week because Nixon 5, baby! Woo! Right?
Yes.
So we got $4 million from the state and the Knicks won.
I
Yeah.
tell you, all the
What a
stars
week.
are aligning. The planets are all aligning. I think the planets actually are aligning.
You
Um,
know?
so yes.
And not only can you cure COVID with bleach, apparently you can cure you can cure a fungi outbreak, right? In the reflecting pool with it too. Yeah.
You know, as
It's
if
the
like
answer for everything. It's the answer for everything.
who knew that if you didn't have chemicals and filtration that you might have algae growth, like every fucking pool owner in America. Um,
you know, the ridiculousness of everything that's going on is
literally,
is
it's
right,
idiocracy. Literally, we're living in
literally,
idiocracy, seventh
right,
level of hell. But at
right.
least here in the town, things are getting a little bit more copacetic.
Well, it's turning around, and there are a lot of things that I got to say surprised me in that interview, right? And this goes to transparency, right? So you think about it, right? The other side, right? The Republicans had gone to the Walk Hill Living Center multiple times, right? And I'm curious how many times they mentioned, right, at those meetings that a battery storage facility wanted to go in to
But
right next to Price Chopper.
yeah,
Okay.
so this is the Price Chopper in it's like across from Dunning Farm, so that shopping center where
Yes.
Crunch Fitness is. And there is that's the Walk Hill Living Center. That's the senior center, right? That's like a nursing home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's assisted living. It's
It's
what
an
they call
assisted living.
it's what they call like assisted living. So it's a senior housing, assisted living facility. Very nice facility, and I gotta say it's really like when I heard the supervisor in your interview mentioned that before the planning board right now there is a battery storage I guess company that wants to put in battery storage in that plaza, right in the Price
Yeah,
Chopper Plaza area, which is right next to the Walk Hill living facility. And the reason that this came up, right, was the fact that the supervisor, see, previous administration, there's a lot of stuff. I've talked about this a million times. These guys just didn't do the job. They didn't
oops.
care. Okay,
Oh, I know
so
that. Sorry,
so
guys.
when I say that, like every other municipality is developing laws. They're in the middle of their master plan review and don't even take up battery storage. Didn't even
Yeah,
look at it. Right? Like, I mean, how are you not addressing these things? Right? You had a warehouse moratorium, like you had like everything in place to address these things, and you know, we, you didn't get to it. And so now the current supervisor comes in and he's like racing to try to get this stuff done. So what did he do? He did something that I got to say I am a huge fan of, and is completely transparent. Okay? So in the past, what this town has done they've introduced laws, right, that have already been carefully crafted, but in closed doors. So by the time they got to you, you didn't know it was in the law. They gave a public hearing and then they voted on it the same night and passed it. Public
right.
had no idea what the hell was even happening. Okay,
There was no
until
time for input.
after the fact. The supervisor in this instance instituted a battery storage law, and what he did was, the way he did it was he did a template law,
Right,
okay, which in other words encompasses basically the standard for New York, okay. And then what he wants to do is he set a public hearing so that the public could come out, okay, and give their input as to what they want to see in this law, right? The things that need to come out, the things that should go in, okay.
exactly.
Now, every change that happens to this document, okay, will have to be disclosed to the public. So now, if a
That's great.
special interest group came in, right, and said, we want this because we want to do this here, the public will know about it because it'll be disclosed to the public. Okay. And I got to say, that to me is where transparency is. Too many times in this country, laws are being created and we have no idea what's in the law and it affects us directly. And then we only find out after the fact.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you want to tell us what the supervisor had to say, Denise?
Well, with regard to that, he said that's what we're going to do. He would make a referendum if necessary to get it on the ballot in time for people to vote one way or another. And it's even with other issues that impact the community, because a battery storage facility would be an impact. Anybody who's been paying attention to what's going on in Warwick knows what I'm talking about. Their facility, I think, again, we even brought it. Is it still on fire? I don't know. I reached out to the Warwick group that I'm a part of and invited them onto the channel. So if any of them happen to pop in, you can give us an update on that, because that's a serious thing. And he pointed to the fact that these chemicals. This is a chemical burn. So you don't know what's going into the air. So, if they go and make these with the previous administration, he pointed to the fact that just what Neil said, that they would talk about this behind closed doors, make their decisions, which you're not supposed to do, by the way. You're supposed to vote in front of the public and not make your decisions how you're going to vote when you get in front of the public. You see the difference? And he said they would make these decisions and people wouldn't know. And that wouldn't give you enough time to respond. And plus, you might not get all the details. Like something like a battery storage facility, you might want to do a little research and learn a little bit about how they work. And so this is what Frank is doing. He's giving us some time to learn about what these things are, what these issues are, and vote on and have the ability to voice your opinion before they take a vote. And he pointed to the fact that he got some pushback on that idea from Councilman Johnson. Councilman Johnson didn't like the idea. I guess he said it. Frank's own words were, I guess Councilman Johnson doesn't give credit to the residents of the town of Walk Hill for having enough of a brain to want to be able to think about these decisions before letting the town make the decision for them. And so it's insulting to our intelligence. So good for Frank for pushing back on that, and for this particular issue, which is a serious one. So go
He
ahead. What do
was
you think?
Frank was very nice. All right. When saying that. I was at the meeting, and what I'm gonna say is see, there is a proper way of doing things, and then there's the Walk Hill way of doing things. Okay.
Yes.
And when I joined the town board, okay, right, I was informed of the Walk Hill way of doing things. Okay. And I was really surprised to find out that other municipalities did not operate this way. And this is sort of like one of those things, like other municipalities in public, right? Like in public, they invite the public in, to make comments. The town of Wackill was, we want to do everything in secret. We want to come up with this law, right? Prior to even it getting to all of board members, right? So that it's carefully crafted. Nobody knows what's in it. Nobody knows what changes were made, right? And then they just put you in front of everybody. He also got upset about, like, it was just put in front of him that day. I mean, what a fucking hypocrite. Okay, I'm literally going to say that because it's absolutely 100% true. Because I was there for 4 years under George Serrano, or 2 years under George Serrano, right? And Steve Vanilla was there for 2 years under George Serrano, right? And I was there for 2 years under Ed Diana. And I'm going to say every fucking time, right? I would have to vote on laws that I saw for the first time. I had no idea, like, what it even was. There was no discussion that we were even going to put this law up, right? They did that with the Canvas opt-out law, right? The three of them, right, did the whole law themselves, okay, and brought it to the town board and to me and Frank. right? And we were like, we never even discussed this. And they were like, we don't care.
What did you walk into? Hey, Marty, welcome to the show. Nice to see you. You walked into a lot of shit, which is just the same shit, different day, kind of thing that we're dealing with here. Um,
But yeah,
but
it was crazy. Like, so I'm just gonna say, he's a hypocrite. The fact is that this is going to be good for now we get to hear what our councilmen actually do and what they actually sound like when it comes to these things, and not have like some industry person or some lobbyist, with the project, right, give what they want to see. So
right,
this will be very interesting now to see what happens moving forward. So I want to give Frank a shout out. Great job, Frank. um it's a win for transparency. Win for
yes.
transparency. Great job.
Yes, and and this was when we were talking about new laws that he had proposed, and I think the other law for those that are living on Shut Road might appreciate the fact that he's introduced proposed a law regarding restricting commercial vehicles from parking on the side of the road on Shut Road, which has been a lot of problems.
It's
Uh,
actually a law related to the entire town. It came
yes,
up
yes,
by Shut Road. We have to make clear this is also a template law. It applies to everywhere in town. If you are a business owner with a commercial truck that you park on the road, right, then what you may want to do is get a copy of this law, right, so that you can comment. Okay.
right.
This is meant to bring people out and comment. People don't need to be angry about this,
No,
right?
just
This
I
is
just want to
this is a
point.
win.
Right. I just want to point one thing. It was regarding box trucks of 20 feet or more. So, like if you have a van, it wouldn't apply. So it's bigger trucks that tend to take up a lot of road space. They can also be a little wider than a car. So when parking on side roads, you really don't want them there for a long period of time because of how much room they take up on the road. Sorry about that.
No, but it's true. It's just the idea, I want people to understand, right? Because the town of Waukesha is operated so poorly as it relates to transparency. Okay. No lie. People show up to town hall and they get angry about this shit. They see us and they're like, "Oh my god, you're gonna kill my business," right? No,
Oh shit.
this this is the opportunity, okay, for people to go in and discuss what they want to see in this law. They will make changes. We will see what those changes are. So just relax. Everybody relax. Okay? Get the law and then send your comments in, okay? Or show up to the public hearing. This is the goal. The goal is to get public communicating with each other. All right? Get us all together on the same page. Let us all agree. Let us all
Yes.
compromise. All right?
Yeah.
This is a win for transparency. Otherwise, what you would get is you would get this dropped on your lap and they would say screw you.
Exactly.
And so let's give some credit. Let's not come out with pitchforks. Let's come out and say great job for transparency. Let us work on this together. This is not going to be public hearing and we vote on it the same night. It's not like that in the town of Waukesha anymore.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
All right. So moving on. I also asked about the finances. Now, aside from the $4 million and covering that budget hole, we've had issues with audits not being completed. Um, and that goes back to 2023, which was really funny because the other side is like sending their AI slop saying, Frank didn't get the 2023 and 2024 audits done. It's like, why is this his responsibility? He just got here in 2026. Be that as it may, I did ask him if there was a sorry, there's a fly in here. If there was an update, and there is. He advised that 2023 is pretty much done, and they are in the process of preparing the AFR, that's annual financial report, correct?
Yes,
Um, the,
that's the report you have to file with the state.
and so they're in the process of prepping that for 2023. He expects 2024 to be completed in July. Might experience a little delay with the 4th of July holiday. Obviously, this is a big one. but hopefully by August, we should have the AFR done for that, and 25 should go pretty quick because they should be back. They should be in order, and 2025 should be done by September, by the end of September, possibly going into October. But I think he said by the end of September, we will be all caught up on the books in a matter of months. The thing that couldn't be done by the previous administration for years. So I think that's a really good thing. You got any comments on that for us? I know you always have a comment.
It's amazing. It just goes to show you that when you focus on doing something, that it can get done, right? And it'll be great to see what the numbers actually are, because at this point in time, you really think about it. George was in office 4 years. When he got into office, the only year he had done through the end of his term, right? Through the end of the year,
2022.
really was 2021, was Frank's year, okay, which is Frank's last year, right? 2022 only got done at the end. So we
At the
didn't
end of
get
December.
right. We didn't get any of you think about it, you didn't get any of George's history. We still have no idea, right, what the outcome is of George, in the and that's what I find is so interesting is people say, you how can you comment on whether somebody was good or bad when the metrics aren't even available, right? So my feeling is you know um I gotta just say I don't that I think is what it says, right? It says it for itself. He just wasn't a good supervisor. He didn't do what was needed to be done from a CFO, from a chief
Well, that's the whole
financial officer.
reason why we lost the bond rating and got robbed
Right.
of $400,000.
Right.
And
He
he
just
that
didn't
was
he just didn't have it.
no, and I want to add that Frank said that once 2025 is in, he's going to start working to get the bond rating back. He'll be able to make a case for getting the bond rating back. So we could see the bond rating before the election cycle, before the election in November.
Yeah, you're not gonna see the bond rating before the election in November. That would be a long shot. That would be a long shot. I just wanna manage expectations. That'd be a real long shot.
Okay, so
That would
Marty
be a
says,
real long shot.
yes, that is what they're paid to do. Doesn't mean they're actually doing it though.
Well, and that's the thing is people view what they see. And the funny part is when people put stuff on Facebook, Facebook is only the best. Right? Like what people post on Facebook is like nobody's gonna be like, oh man, last night I was drunk in a corner. Look at me, vomit all over. Like people don't post that shit. You post when you just get to the party and you're looking great and you're like, hey, living the life. I'm at the party, right? No one shows you what you look like after the party, right? You know, like you don't see those pictures curated on Facebook, and so people thought like, oh, they must be doing a great job. Look at Facebook, and it's like Facebook only gives you the best,
Of
and
course. Or the
here's what.
worst by the other side, by the opposition.
Well, it gives you the information that the poster wants you to know, and it may not be the right information. So you can't go by that stuff anymore. You just can't. Yes, and
Didn't
Marty, yes, George did raise the salary of the supervisor to 122,000. Crazy, right?
and
That's
Frank is
crazy.
getting trolled for that, for being paid the salary that Serrano voted on. Go figure.
They could have done something. Listen, they had plenty of opportunity to do something after the election. They did. I mean, like you think about it, the budget doesn't get voted on until after the election. Okay?
That's
They had
right.
they had every opportunity to make changes. You know? And they just chose to leave it the same. They chose to leave the $2.8 million. They knew they had no money, right? Like they knew they were setting the entire town up for failure, and they were setting up Supervisor Dendato with the damn salary.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this was their plan. Well, okay, we're just gonna make it look like he's not working. He addressed that directly near the end of the
Oh yeah,
video.
he
He
got
went
four
right
million
in.
dollars. He's working.
He's absolutely
Working.
working. Yes, he's
Yes.
absolutely doing the job. Because first of all, this never would have happened if Frank wasn't on the board, on the ball, chasing these people to get them to pay attention to what was happening in our town. We were facing bankruptcy. We were like here to bankruptcy, and so this was so important. It was either that or he even said, because there was all that rumor going around that the taxes were going to go up 70%, and he said there was a chance that could have happened if we didn't get this deal done. So he fought to get it for us.
Here's what I'm gonna say. This gets us through this year. We still have next year. Everybody's right. We still have next year. Everybody's right. Taxes are going to have to go up, whatever that number is. We don't know yet, right? But here's what I'm going to say, right? It's not Frank's fault. You know, you want the services, you have to understand that the services cost money. Now, what I am going to say is in reviewing the stuff that I'm looking at, right? He's done a lot to bring costs down, right?
Yes.
I mean, there was a lot of spending that was being done in the previous administration that didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
As I said, right? Like, I mean, you could look at I said, go out and foil the credit card statements that they had. Go out and foil those. Seriously. Take a look at the credit card statements. You will see that they almost doubled as soon as George took office. The first year George took office, that
Wow.
that it almost doubled. You know, like, I mean, there's just a lot of random spending that was happening. So
Yeah.
at this point in time, that's going to stop. And there's going to be much more. Frank is much more fiscally responsible than
Yeah.
than what the Republicans have put forth. Okay. And that's just the end of the story, right? There's
Very
nothing
good.
more you can say about that.
Very good. And to the final point, I'm going to address something that also came up. So we were talking about the signage, with the political signage that's been going on, um, and the fact that we addressed it. He pointed to the fact that there was a case. Name was Sugar Baker,
Yeah.
Sugar something, versus the Village of Chester, and that was going back to 2001. And there was the town of Walkill was brought into this case. Multiple municipalities across the state were sued, or across the county were sued, um, because she was running for DA and didn't win. And so, you know, as a result, the town of Wallkill back then in 2002 amended the signage law. And it doesn't seem to be a law as much as it's a guidance that political signage should be up, or any sign, any commercial sign pointing to an event, such as a political, and in this case political signage, should be about 30 days. It's the recommendation was 30 days, and then taken down within 10 days after the election. um, you and I were having a sort of an off-camera talk and said, even 60 days isn't too bad. Immediately, somehow, the other side said Frank is abolishing the First Amendment in the town of Walker. Like, where the fuck did you get that? Nobody said you couldn't have rallies. Nobody said you couldn't send mailers out. Nobody said you couldn't text people like you did to me. None of that. None of that. Just, hey, let's not let the whole town be cluttered with signs at a point when nobody's really thinking about the election. It's summertime, especially this summer, since it's the country's 250th anniversary. People are more concerned with that. People are more concerned with what they're doing for vacation. So why clutter it? Why these signs get everywhere? We saw that last year. It was a mess. that's just my point. That's just my 2 cents.
It's you know, so I've been talking about the sign issue now, really going back to George when George first ran against Frank, right?
Right, Marty.
Um, when I first got into office, okay, back in 2016, the first conversation I had, one of the first conversations I had with Supervisor Depew and Lou and others was, we want to have a nice town. We want to have a pretty town. We have very strict sign laws, if you've noticed. Okay. We have very strict sign laws. Okay. And, and, you know, really political signs shouldn't really need to go up before September 1st because nobody really pays attention to it. It's the summer. We all want to see our landscape. Nobody wants to be driving around town and seeing signs, right? In my time, in every election I ran in, I stuck to that rule. Okay. I stuck to that agreement because I agreed with the philosophy, right? Whether, I know what the code says, it's a suggestion, whatever. I don't give a shit about that. This is about the town. We're seeing it from everybody. And I'm hearing it. People are calling me about it. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm not the Republicans. The Democrats don't have signs up. Okay. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Well, the Democrats and Republicans. No, one side is doing all the AI stuff, right? All the AI memes, okay? And one side has their signs up. That's it. It's the Republican side. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay? The Democrats aren't really doing anything, okay? And except working for this town. Okay? That's what they're doing. They're working for this town. Okay? And that's what I find is so disingenuous is the fact that that George set up this idea that the rules don't matter, that the town really didn't matter. He just wanted his name and sign and his picture everywhere. Okay,
Mhm.
it was the same philosophy Ed Diana had too. Just wanted his name and his picture everywhere, right? Like Ed Diana, when he
So
first
basic
got in,
pat my back.
when he got into office as supervisor of the town, he put up on the electronic billboard, they have the town of Wackel entering the town of Wackel. He put his picture on that sign, on that sign, on the electric sign, right? You wanted his picture
Oh,
as
wow.
supervisor and Diana, right?
L
Like,
leaving New York, entering North Korea.
you know, this is the way, but he started it, and then George just decided to put it on full on, right, steroids of this is what we're going to do. And I had said, you elect George, right? I went around to, I said, you elect George, you are going to have signs up all year round. It's going to be because we have 2-year election cycles. They are going to keep their signs up all year round, right? Just keep going. And you're just going to be inundated with political shit just year after year after year. Okay. And you're not getting any news about the town. Remember that. They aren't giving you any information about the town. Okay,
Well,
while doing it.
yeah, and I mean, we don't even know what the Republican candidate's platform is. All I hear is I'm going to be full time. Well, I think we've dispelled that, and he's driving around in the town supervisor car.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's it. Like that's not a platform. Like I want to know what policies you're going to be doing. What are you going to do if you win? Are you going to continue this work to get our books in order and to clear up the problems that have been hanging around for years and years?
No,
Or
because
are you going to sweep that under a rug?
they are still this is how rich they are. Instead of thanking the supervisor for bailing them out,
They ain't doing
okay,
that.
they are going around telling people that somehow the supervisor hoodwinked, okay, the assembly, the state senate, and the governor's office into giving the town $4 million. That the town is in great shape, right? Like, what the fuck? I gotta ask, what the fuck on that one?
There's like
Because
hundreds of people here. The county legislature, the county executive, the state legislature, the governor, the state comptroller's office, and all of their support staff in accounting departments that had to look at all of our books and see and listen to Frank and confirm his statements. But hey, he bamboozled them all. It's hilarious.
I mean, this is the type of gaslighting that I dealt with, okay, for the 8 years that I was on the board, right? That's the type of gaslighting that led the town into bankruptcy. That's the type of gaslighting that led to the $400,000 being stolen, right? Oh, we put the best controls in place. Remember, they said that before the $400,000 was stolen, and that money was stolen between 2022 and 2024. I mean, like, are you kidding me? Right? Like, it was over 2 years and it didn't get caught. The bank caught it. They didn't even
Yes.
catch it. The bank caught it. Okay. I mean, it just one lie after another. They just want to gaslight you into believing that they were doing the job. That's it. Right? Because they don't want you to think poorly of them. And this is what gets me, is the fact that people have come to me and said, well, stop speaking so poorly of them because of X, Y, and Z, and I like them and they were nice to me. Well, you know what? P.T. Barnum was a great guy. Everybody fucking
a
loves P.T.
sucker,
Barnum,
a
right?
sucker
And
born
what
every
did he
minute.
say? A sucker born every minute, right? He
Yeah.
could sell anybody a flea circus, okay? Anybody a flea circus, right? That was his motto. Everybody, there's a sucker born every minute. Okay. So yeah, sometimes the nice people are the ones trying to snooker you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And that's all I'm gonna say about those guys. They put on a great face outwardly, right? But behind closed doors, they are not nice guys at all.
yeah. So moving right along, this is some good news here. By the way, if you haven't, make sure you watch that you watch my interview. Definitely cover a lot of stuff. He really went into a lot of in-depth um, coverage in his explanations of things, and I think it'll really help you to understand what is going on with the town, because you have a right to know and you should be engaged in what's going on. So moving right along. Um, Tell me what's going on with the reflecting swamp in in Washington. I think they're chlorinating it now, like they're pouring copious amounts of chlorine into this thing, like
Yeah,
that's
they're
gonna
they're
cure it.
like Clorox, like hydrogen peroxide. Like it's like Clorox, it's bleach. Like they're and all it's gonna do is most of it's gonna dissipate and do nothing, right? But I mean, his followers are like, oh, the algae bloom is a conspiracy by Democrats, right? Like, I mean, these people will
It's
fucking believe anything. Like, it kills me. Like, I don't even know anymore. Like,
the
anybody, and
water
you
is
said
from the
anybody has a pool, and if you don't have chlorine and you don't have circulation, right? And that's probably where he was like, oh, it's a pool, so just pour chlorine into it.
yeah, peroxide can in fact be used to kill algae. Also, it's just a whole lot more expensive than hydrogen, than putting shock in it. But I mean, this thing is enormous, right? According to Trump, it's taller than the Freedom Tower. Right, so we're talking a shitload of water here, even though it's shallow, and the fact that it's shallow adds to the algae blooming, because it's not that deep, so the algae gets the sun and it helps it to grow. So there's that, and maybe the fact that the water is coming from the Potomac River and already had algae in it, right? Has nothing to do with that. So yeah, it's hilarious. It looks terrible. I saw videos from people have been posting videos all over social media with this, like, of it floating on top. It's like, it looks worse. Like, you should have left. It was actually really nice. Ecological area. We were there back in November, and also last year in June we were there. I mean, there were ducks in the water. It wasn't so deep. You had plants growing, all kinds of plants growing, which sort of lended to the ecology of the area. And I think I'm saying the right word here now. All of a sudden, having a brain fart with words, but yeah, it
You're
was nice.
doing
You
it.
probably, yeah, there was probably there might have been some aquatic life living in the pool. Not going to say there was like you know fish in there, but maybe toads, tadpoles. They usually find their way into these things. You probably had some microscopic life going on in there, and of course you had ducks and stuff. And so it's like then you got rid of all of that, and plus I think the whole bottom of that pool was made of granite. It was like a granite bottom. So they painted the granite. So it was a natural stone before, and now it's like got cement paint on it.
Well, he listen, it's idiocracy. You have an idiot in charge. He fired all the scientists. This is the crap you get. I mean, like this is the shit that you're getting. I mean, listen, we're not too far from them saying, "Oh, why don't we water our crops with fucking Gatorade?" We're not far from that right now. Like, you got to understand, we are closer to that. Okay, we are closer to that, right? Than we are like anything else on the other side. Okay, we are closer to that than having universal health care. I can tell you that right now. We are much closer to the Gatorade and the crops than we are to universal health care.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean,
so
this is where we are. This it's just more idiocracy.
it literally looked like a scene out of Idiocracy this weekend. If anybody watched that whole UFC crazy shit,
Why would I
um,
watch that?
yeah, no, I didn't watch it either, but I saw some scenes we had during the day. We had motorcycles flipping out over that whole cage thing or octagon stuff. Oh yeah, that looked great. All we needed was the president showing up on a motor trike, dressed as dressed as
Listen,
Uncle Sam
I'm not
with
gonna
Mr. T chains.
I'm not going I'm not going to make listen, I'm not going to make fun of it because there are a lot of Americans who love UFC fighting. UFC fighting is not my thing. A lot of people love UFC fighting. You know, we have done spectacles, here and there, never anything like this. Okay? This is sort of like a first. But we've done other things, okay? And so, I more concerned about the idea of like if you really think about it, like all the tax dollars being put right to all the golfing, the 60 what was it 60 million billion dollars or 60 million dollars,
$60 million
60 million that went to this, right? 300 billion
that
going
we
to
know of.
Iran, 300 billion going to Iran, you had all the cuts to Doge, you have the cuts to SNAP. They're talking about cutting Social Security, the Social Security and Medicare, right? Like, look at what they're doing. They are literally giving you the Cleopatra, let them eat cake,
Cleopatra,
okay? Or whoever that was.
Marie Antoinette.
Marie Antoinette.
we're centuries apart.
Whatever. All right. Yeah, I don't know that history. Whatever. But I'm just saying, like, we are literally in that moment. Okay.
Yeah,
It is that moment, right, where you have Trump just spending taxpayer money on whatever the fuck he wants. Okay. He's even gaining the market, okay, by putting out statements so that he can make bets and win on those bets. His kids are winning on those bets. I mean, I heard all this shit about Hunter Biden. They're literally on Polymarket, like wagering, right,
uh,
on UFC fights, on dictators getting overthrown, on whatever it is. I mean, these guys are making money off of our lives and our
yeah,
livelihood.
yep.
Okay, we're the workers. We're the people who go to work and make and really generate the wealth and capital of this country. And these guys are literally just taking the money from us, pissing on us, and saying, "Ha ha ha! Fuck you! A sucker was born every minute."
No, you're absolutely right. Marty here just said that's why they're building survival shelters. They know what they're doing cannot last much longer. Right. They're gonna have to run and hide. This. What do you think Trump is putting money in a bank account in Qatar, right? He's banking his escape plan just in case he has to flee the country. I mean, he hasn't done anything to help working Americans. Everything has been against it, and they just bamboozle you with what did they say this whole UFC thing was? It was like bread and circus. Only this time, this dictator and his entire administration isn't giving us the bread, right? We're not even getting the bread at this point. We're just getting the circus, and the circus is only for his group of people. They said they put the rest of the fans that showed up off in a park somewhere else to go to a giant watch party. They left a mess. They were feeding them free monster drinks, okay, which is Monster Energy, free. So these people, it was like 95 degrees out, and they're feeding them Monster Energy. By the time the nighttime came, these people were all keyed up, and there was a freaking brawl. They were beating the shit out of each other. Yeah, that looked great. It's craziness. It's
This is
absolutely craziness.
America today, okay? But I go back to again,
Yes, they
why
are.
why you know, here's what gets me. Okay? There are 500 people in Congress. Okay? And then you have thousands of judges. Okay? And none of them look at this and say, yeah, maybe we should do something about this, right? It's all performative, right? It's all like Democrats are like, yeah. We'll give just enough votes so that way we can continue to let Trump be the bad guy, and that way Democrats will come out and vote for us. But they're doing nothing to actually stop it, right? Like we saw Republicans when they were in charge, they just stopped shit. And Democrats were like, oh well, we can't do anything good to the Republicans, right? Like we know that Mom Donnie is showing us shit can get done. There are
Yes,
means to do shit. Okay, so the real question really comes down to where are the adults in the room, right? Because
there aren't
from
any.
from a political standpoint, I look at every single one of these politicians, right? And I can probably count on two hands, right? The actual adults in the room,
Yeah,
who are like reasonably saying, you know, this is wrong. Like Ro Khanna,
I was
who's a
just gonna
Democrat.
say,
Ro Khanna, who's the Democrat. Jay Paul,
J- Jamie Raskin,
Jamie Raskin,
AOC.
J Paul, I can't remember her name now. Thomas Massey, he's even one of the adults in the room, right? Like, I mean, where the fuck are the adults in the room? And I'm not the only one asking this question, because if you follow Adam Kinzinger, who also is a Republican, right, he's asking the same question. Where are the adults in the room, right? We're relying on laws, right, that were passed decades ago, okay, to sit here and try to provide bumpers, right, so that these fuckers can't like completely destroy the United States. But I heard a congressman today at a press conference, right, say the United States won't be around 50 years from now, but Israel will be, right? And I just got to ask the question, like, what the fuck does that mean, dude?
What
Right?
exactly does
So
that mean?
does that mean like all my money has to go to them because you don't believe in America anymore?
Yeah,
Right? Like it doesn't, like the shit that's coming out of these people's mouths make no fucking sense whatsoever. And this is not a knock on Israel. Okay? I'm not trying to make a knock on Israel. I'm talking about the statement that a US congressman made.
yeah,
Okay? Right? Like you have no belief in America, but you sit here as your representative, right? To America by the people you represent. You
and you're
failed them. You
yes,
failed them in every way. You've not
hmm
only failed them, you failed America. And
yeah,
that's part of the issue of what's happening locally all the way up. You are when you are elected by a constituency, by the residents of that community to do the best by them, not
Yeah.
yourself.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And if
And
there are
not for
people
another
on your,
country.
when I got on the board, all right, I'm going to tell you something. I relied on Mark and Eric, because Eric had experience with the zoning board and Mark had experience with the planning board. And I had no experience with those two areas. So I relied on them and their expertise in those areas, right? Because that was something that they brought to the table. And you have to understand, when people bring something to the table, you have to listen to them, right? Because they may have something of value to say. But then all of a sudden, I wanted access to what my specialty is. And all of a sudden, I had no access to that.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying. So all of a sudden, you're not doing your job now. Now you failed at your job. Okay.
Right.
Because you aren't allowing somebody else to do that. You allowed me to do my job from certain perspectives, but then when it came to other things, you refused to allow me to do my job, therefore disenfranchising the thousands of people that I represented.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we're
And
seeing now
on a
nationwide. We're seeing this in the
nationwide
state
scale.
and nationwide. Yes.
Yeah. Now we've gone from America first to Israel first. It's really eye opening. Um,
To Iran first. I mean, was it $300 billion we're giving? So we waged a war for $80 billion, right? We're gonna give them $300 billion, but we don't have money we
healthcare.
don't have any money for healthcare. We couldn't do anything with the ACA. Like, seriously, like, I'm not even talking universal healthcare. You had no money for that. You have no money for SNAP to feed hungry children. Like, I am not understanding how this, like, if the value of a country, right, and their beliefs is what they spend money on, all right, and how they allocate money, then I have no idea what this country believes in anymore.
No, no, it's
I
really
just have
it's
none.
eye opening. And
Right.
they always go to China and say, "Oh, we got to beat China. We got to, invest in all this other stuff so we can be ahead of China." Just want you to know that China lifted 90% of its population out of poverty. There's there I think at this point it's about 90% of the middle class are homeowners. We're not there. The average age of a homeowner is about 30. Where here people are buying if you're lucky, the average age of first time homeowner owners is 40, 40, 41, 42, somewhere in there. So we're not helping and building our infrastructure to be prepared for the future.
Well, this is what's so interesting, right?
No money for cancer research. Yes, absolutely.
This is what I find is so interesting. A lot of Chinese nationals have come to this country to get educated. We had a very good educational system from a capitalist and innovative standpoint. Okay, we prided ourselves on innovation. A lot of that innovation, right, which we took credit for here in America, came from foreign nationals, came from immigrants who came into this country to get educated. Okay, and then stayed in this country because they built something. Okay, but now they've left this country and gone back to China and innovated there. And now the innovation in China is outpacing what we're seeing in the United States. And the only reason we don't know that is because we don't allow China to sell certain products in the United States, in particular electronics and electronic devices, right? So, like, their cell phones are way better than the iPhone and the Samsung phone. Way better. Okay? Their EVs are way better. They go miles longer than ours, and they have better charging stations than ours. They can charge a car fully in 9 minutes, right? The fastest we have in the
Canada
United
too.
States is 18 minutes. Well, they got their technology from China. Canada got
There you
their
go.
technology from China. They just entered into a big deal with China, right? To be able to do that. In fact, most car manufacturers have realized, okay, that if China's allowed into the United States market with their cars, right, that everything would be decimated. That they they wouldn't be able they wouldn't be able to compete, right? Because China is selling a $25,000 SUV right now that is way more loaded than anything in the United States for $25,000. Okay,
Wow.
right? I, I am sorry. We are losing, and we are losing on all fronts. And I'm sorry that that hurts people's feelings, right? But at some point, we have to get to the point of having a realistic conversation about where America is going and what we are investing in, because we are no longer investing in our people. We are no longer investing in infrastructure, right? Our money is being invested in war, incarcerate, mass incarceration, right? And policing. That
Yes,
is it.
that's it.
Okay. And
And
I'm telling you right now,
lining politician pockets.
those police will be needed because everybody will be living in poverty, right? Mr. Global, who we've talked about on this show, right? He said, what the thing I'm not talking about and not telling everybody is that the future is going to be littered with abject poverty.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where we're all headed, right? This IPO, right, that just happened with Starlink, okay, is going to decimate our pension funds.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah, explain how that works because they made changes to the NASDAQ that's going to lock people out of being able to bail out of this thing for like 30 days. Am I correct on this?
Yeah, so there's different lockup periods, but if you're one of the initial people who bought in, okay, um then that allows them to cash out, right? Because you're buying the stock from them. And what that's going to do is they're going to do a pump and dump scheme, mainly at the what they've been pushing for. So in order to be indexed, you have to meet certain criteria. They have not met any of the criteria to be indexed. However, indexes are changing, okay, their criteria to allow it to in, right? Which means if it's indexed, that's the part that we're worried about, because once that happens, that means all the pension funds and all the index funds that follow that index will have to buy
Right.
that, right? Allowing them to cash out, and therefore the stock then goes down because there will end up being more sellers than buyers at
Right.
that point
And
in
the
time.
and that's going to affect your pension plans. They'll go down in value while their bank accounts go up.
Yes.
And yep. And this is what Larry Fink said. There was a video clip out there, came out a few weeks ago, where he was talking about AI and competing with China, and how we have to make a big investment, but we have the money to make an investment. We're going to attach uh, retirement plans, 401ks, and bank accounts to get that money.
Yeah.
They're making us pay for their investments. I want you to think about that. Not
We've been
you pay for your own investments, but paying for their investments.
listen, we've been they've become millionaires and billionaires and trillionaires off of the backs of our labor,
Yeah,
right?
that's our money.
And our work, right? And they've been doing it for a long time, and it's only gotten worse with these tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts. Okay? And at the end of the day, this is going to be bad for all of us because it's all going to lead to us being in poverty and them on their islands. Okay?
Yeah,
That's it. And this affects us all. And it even affects you locally. Like understand, like this impacts you locally. The more money that they take for this nonsense at the federal level and the state level, okay, means less grants that you get at the local level. It means less funding that you get at the local level. It means less revenue. Like that means, and if there's less revenue coming from those other sources, that means it's more revenue coming out of, that means it's more money that comes out of your pocket and your bank account because
absolutely.
your local municipality has to run. That's your local roads. That's how you get to work in the morning. Okay? That's your water. That's your sewer. That's everything that you care about. to live every day. Okay, there was just a quick anecdote. There was a place, and I can't remember the name, where all of a sudden, because they didn't maintain their infrastructure, they had a water pipe burst, okay, to their main source of water. Okay, so all they had left was the water tower, and it was going to take weeks for them to repair that. Okay, they had no water. They ran out of water. The town ran out of freaking water because they didn't maintain their water system, because the Republicans didn't care, right, and didn't want to invest in that money at that time.
Yes,
Okay,
this.
it's important that we keep on top of these things and that we understand what is actually happening, right, rather than just say, oh, I'm not going to worry about it now. It looks like they're doing a good job. They have good Facebook photos.
You laugh, but it's true. It's true. Great AI video, looks wonderful. That's and that's the distraction. That's the circus, right? The bread, they're not even giving us the bread at this point. They're not getting bread, and we're not getting water. They need the water for the data centers, so that's going away. Actually, we also touched on that in the interview as well. So you might want to again watch it, plug again for that. But yeah, this is where we're living. We've got so much being thrown at us every single day, every single minute of every single day, and we have to sort of parse through all of this crap to get to the heart of what's really important to
Well,
us.
here's the question, and this is the question that I've had from the very beginning. Every time a development project came before us, I heard, well, we have plenty of water. But then every year we're in drought restrictions. Right? Think about it. We've been in drought restrictions now for the past like 4 or 5 years.
Really,
Okay?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We get to the end of summer, we get to August, and we get in drought restrictions, right? So the question becomes, what's the disconnect between our politicians telling us we have plenty of water, right? But then us being told that we're in drought restrictions, right? Like, that's what I want to get to the bottom of. I'm really kind of like sick and tired of this nonsense. We're going to be in drought restrictions again. We really need to control and figure out, right, how to manage the growth, right, in our water and sewer districts. If we have a water problem, then we need to manage growth in those areas to ensure that we're not going to, right, overuse our water where all of a sudden we're going to be in drought restrictions all the time, right, and we're going to have bad water and all this other kind of crap. Like, we have to take care of the town.
Yes. Yep.
And that's why I like Frank's take on it. Let's deal with some of these issues, the data centers and the battery storage. Yes.
Yes. All right. So Marty just made a note. Yeah, we did go through drought restrictions back in the 90s as well. Um, so it's been an ongoing issue here in the town for a long time.
Look at the
S-
drought map. Look at the drought map. Seriously, the drought map will tell you a lot, especially the latest, the updated one. You will see that the drought comes down from New England, believe it or not, all the way through Orange County in the Hudson Valley. It's like
Wow.
crazy. It's actually if you look at the topographical map of the United States, like back, and you see the drought conditions, you actually see the changing climate that we're experiencing all throughout the United States and actually all throughout the world.
Yeah.
But
A
global
lot of
warming isn't happening, people. So please ignore
right.
it.
Yeah, it's just a fake thing.
Yeah, it's
We've
just a
decided.
hoax.
Yeah, yeah. So we got rid of all the all the science and all the experts and all the climatologists because they don't know what they're doing, and replace them with television personalities, podcasters, and people have absolutely no experience doing really anything, anything related to climatology, science, or even health, right? So yeah, so it's a tough time. I recommend sharpening your pitchforks because I think we're getting there. I don't know. I don't think people America is getting angry enough, but hopefully we get there soon because fuck. Um, I will say this. I want to add
Because
one last
America
thing.
is too medicated. That's why.
Yes, we're too medicated. That was the whole opioid things.
Yeah.
The government fed us opioids.
Yes.
The government fed us drugs, right? Because to keep us from not paying attention, folks, we're going to be poor anyway. You won't be able to afford your drugs. So good thing that maybe you'll wake up at this point. But I do want to say I did get a little bit of hope from one of my favorite podcasters that I love to watch is Romano, the Romano Report. He did a little thing uh, addressing, first of all, he was addressing Title II, Section 4 of the Constitution. A lot of people seem to think that means that we can, in one fell swoop, you can impeach an entire administration. No, that's not what it says. So he's pointing out what it says, which is it's just identifying the various roles that can be impeached. The elected roles of the president, the vice president, their individual cabinet members, members of the judiciary. Good to know for the future. And so he was just pointing that out. But he said, you know what? If let's just hypothetically say that we were to win back the House, which looks like that's going to happen, but also win back the Senate, or at least be able to get some people within the Senate to caucus with the Democrats. And we went for you. I'm putting Neil to sleep, and
Well, you're like talking
let's just like
fantasy land shit.
I
You know,
know it's
like I mean,
fantasy. Just
right?
it's a
This is
fantasy, but
fan
it's I
fiction
wanna.
now. This is fan fiction now. Now,
I
now you're
know. Well,
like,
fuck
this
it. We
is
live in an
fucking
artificial.
fan
We live in
fiction.
idiocracy. We watched Idiocracy and Craziness. So
Right.
let's just say
we're closer. Think about this. I'm going to tell you, we are closer to putting Gatorade on our crops than we are anything that you said about impeaching anybody. Okay.
Well,
I guarantee you, we're putting electrolytes on our crops before anybody gets impeached. Guaranteed. I will make that bet right now with you.
But anyway, I'm gonna finish my fantasy because I want people to like push their elected officials towards this. He said, if we were to get back into power come January, because the Republicans are afraid. They've come out themselves and said if the Democrats win, I'm going to be going through impeachment hearings. We'll see.
Oh my God.
But if it happens, there's a way to do this. There's a way
Nobody's
to
afraid. Nobody's afraid. Come on. It's all performative.
come on. It is
Keep
well
telling you that.
good.
It's all performative.
Well, let's just see what happens here. If they were able to do that, and they were able to impeach the president, you know, there's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't run multiple impeachment hearings concurrently. So let's say that we were to impeach both the president and now the vice president. I think we got something on him since he's been burying the Epstein files. Just get the two of them out. Who's next in line? The Speaker of the House. And come January 1st, we're electing a new Speaker of the House if we do win back the House. Because
right,
I think
Hakeem Jeffries, right? Yeah.
No. Let's say we put someone in like Ro Khanna or Jamie Raskin. Come on. You don't think so?
My God, what do you like? I'm trying to figure out what kind of fantasy land you live in. I mean, like,
I gotta have a goal. I want to go.
We've been talking about this shit for months. Whatever it is that you think is going to happen will never happen in a million years. You are setting yourself and every one of our listeners up for disappointment. Right? I have always been honest with every constituent I had and everybody, and I'm trying to say, like, this is the reality of the situation. Right?
And you don't think we can push our elected leaders to fucking do something?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right? Here's the thing, right? Who you work for the person who gives you compensation. Right? I mean, you when you do a job, the person who pays you, that's the person you're doing the job for. Okay?
Right.
Voters don't give money to politicians. They don't pay the politicians, right? What the politicians make in terms of salary pales in comparison to what they are getting from industry lobbyists, super PACs, you fucking name it.
Oh, I know.
Right? And these billionaire donors, right? Do you think there are going to be enough people right, in Congress to stand up to that kind of money. Okay?
I don't know.
You walk up to the average person on the street and you offer them $1 million to do whatever the fuck you want, right? And you name some stupid shit, right? Most people are gonna take whatever it is that you fucking say. Because $1 million
Yeah.
is a lot of money, right? And these guys don't just have, they have billions of dollars, right? And they are throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at
Like,
people. Like Susan Collins is getting
I was
hundreds
just
of
going to bring
millions
her
of
up.
dollars, right? Like, do you really think she's going to turn her back on hundreds of millions of dollars and join, right, the working class, of Congress, the AOCs of the world? No, that's never going to happen. It's never going to
Yeah, but
happen.
I don't think she's going to be getting reelected. Pretty sure Grand Platte, the Maine is not fucking around.
Right, but
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Get rid of
look at
Citizens United.
look at look at what we have here in New York. Just right next to us in Rockland County, you have Mike Lawler running. Right, there's a whole thing next week, right? And everybody's like, oh, who's going to take on Mike? And there's a lot of energy to get rid of Mike Lawler. That race has become really, really hot. Okay, there is hundreds of millions of dollars going into that campaign right now.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, into that, right? Lawler is going to win, right? Because Lawler is going to have a block vote. Okay, he already has whatever number of votes in the bag.
Oh, the block
Okay,
vote from the Hasidic community.
correct.
Yeah.
So we all talk a great game, okay, in terms of what we want to see. Okay. And we do this to ourselves all, but we need to focus on the reality of the situation because we need to mobilize. We can't come November and be disappointed and then crawl back into our homes and say, well, here we are again. We're disappointed. We can't get what we want. If we are going to do this, it can't be about the election. The election can't be the goal. Okay. Just as AOC has been saying, the goal has to be the change that we want to see.
Yeah.
Right. That has to be the goal. Irrespective of who our elected officials are, that has to be the goal. And we have to continue fighting for that. We have to continue showing up. We have to continue going to protests. We have to continue. Okay.
Right. I have to
Until
step up
they
the
hear
pressure.
us, right? And keep up the pressure and let them know that they will not get reelected if they continue on the same path. Okay. That we will elect new people and it will just continue to elect new people. No more rhetoric. You have to actually now vote what your words are, as opposed to, I'm going to vote one way and then say something else, which is what they all fucking do.
Oh, yeah.
P.T. Barnum, suckers born every goddamn minute.
Let me ask you a question. If you were running and you were elected and into Congress, what do you
You
think
love that. You
that
love
I
that.
know. Just listen to me. This is a hypothetical question. If you were now in Congress, what would be a policy that you would want to implement right away? What would be the first policy that you would want to propose?
Oh God, there's so many.
There's so many, but there should be something to you that's number one that would be that should be implemented immediately. That you would work with Congress to try and get it done immediately. What do you think that you would do? And for
I
anybody
mean,
else that's watching, post in the comments.
I you know, I think we would have to tackle the tax law again. I really think that we would have to tackle the tax law, and create a graduated income tax, right? That taxes everybody proportionally and doesn't allow people to obtain obscene wealth. Obscene wealth in any society leads to corruption. Okay. And people
Oh,
may think that that
100%.
sounds socialistic, but you know, you got to remember that was the world we lived in the 40s, 50s, and 60s when, that's what we talk about as the greatest generation.
Yeah, yeah,
That's when our educational systems were established as being some of the best in the world. That's when when we grew our military. That was the largest growth in infrastructure that we have seen in the United States. Okay. Like,
ever.
this is the like the ambition. that we had. We went to the fucking moon. You know? I mean, just the exploration, discovery, electronics, you know, innovation. Like we have to get back to what American ingenuity all over again. We have to get back into creativity, right? There are so many immigrants that came to this country and created businesses, created jobs, won Nobel prizes in research because they got their education here,
Yes.
you know? And now we're moving away from education. We're moving away from science. We're moving away from everything that made us great, you know?
Dumbing us down like Idiocracy. It was a
And
documentary.
and it's just really sad. And as I said, I just don't know what America believes in anymore. But the first thing I think I would tackle is the tax code, because if you tackle the tax code and you start taxing people proportionally, right? You know, and you can get more money coming in, right? Like then what we can do is then we can do all the other things that we want. We can do healthcare. We can do infrastructure. As I said the other day, right? If you watch the video from the other day, you invest in infrastructure. Every dollar that's invested in infrastructure generates $4
Yes.
into the economy.
Right.
Okay, like that. I mean, why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we invest in us? Right? Like
Yes.
that's like that's the one thing I always loved about America is that we invested in us, and then in the 80s and 90 like 80s, 90s and since
Well,
we
once
just kind of
Reagan
stopped
came
doing
in.
that.
Yeah,
Right?
starting with Reagan.
We just stopped doing that. We decided that tax cuts, right, were the best thing for our economy and not investing in ourselves. China has now surpassed us in economy, right, in their economy, and or at least in innovation they surpassed us. And now look at us.
Yes.
We really don't excel in anything anymore. We excel in incarceration and
Yes.
jailing people. Like, I mean, that's a really sad statistic to lead the world in, dude. you know, so I think the tax code would really allow us if we
For
tackled that,
improvement in education and to put forth a generation of
it
people
would
who
solve everything.
wouldn't be committing crimes. But
The next generation would be the greatest generation that the United States would ever see if we did that. But what we see is politicians, just like the video that we did the other day when we talk about economics, they don't listen to the economic experts. They think they know. They listen to the billionaires who want more of your money. And what we see is more tax breaks, more tax breaks, more tax breaks, not investing in us, more deficits that we owe the money on. It's just more money out of our pockets. They just want to take, and that's it.
oh yes, oh the 100% there. I think for me, first of all, that would definitely be on my to do list. But I think the number one thing uh, for me that I would want to have done, um, put the uh, put the fairness doctrine back into effect. Get rid of because none of this can be done when we have as much propaganda as we have going around, because nobody hears the truth. Everybody has a completely different version of their reality that's been created for them through misinformation and disinformation and just flat out lying. And I think if we were to restore the doctrine and hold news agencies accountable for bullshitting, really hold them accountable, like we need a rule of law back again to do that, we could start getting this information out and reasons why we need a better tax code, reasons why we need to get rid of Citizens United, reasons why universal health care would be such a benefit to the country and how it would save them money in the long run. We have more people going into medical debt than anywhere else in the world, right? People losing their houses because they have cancer. I mean, you shouldn't have to choose between eating or having a surgery. So, all of this streams from information, and we're not getting accurate information across the board. I want to go back to the days of Walter Cronkite. I'm old enough to remember Walter Cronkite, not that I should be admitting that. But, today is Tuesday, June 16th, and this is the news. And that's it. That's it. No spin, no opinions, no commentary, no analysts, just the facts. And then you decide what you think about those facts. That would be the number one thing I would want to get cleared up, and then move on to taxes and everything else.
And on that note, we are at an hour and 20 minutes, people. So
Damn.
thank you for staying with us this entire time. We certainly appreciate it. Time to go, as Mr. Rogers would say. Thank you for spending your time with us. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and and hit the bell so that when we post new videos. And remember,
And follow
comment seven
seven
words
words.
or more, right, to hit the algorithm, and I'll let Denise send us off.
Yes, and don't forget to follow us, The Daily Gripe. We got our first video posted the other day, and so you want to check that out, and be sure to follow us there. We're usually this could actually be a crossover for The Daily Gripe, because for all the national stuff, but we're going to start putting more stuff over there too. So thanks again for watching. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the followers, and welcome to all the new people that have joined us. We'll see you soon. Take care. We love you guys.
Peace out.